Again with you. This is Michael E. Gerber speaking to you from Carlsbad, California. It's Thursday, it's 12:30. We've got a lot to talk about this week. I've got a ton of questions sent to me, and I intend to answer every single one of them, understanding, please, that even as I say I'm going to answer every single one of them, that in fact none of them truly can be answered here in the short time we actually have. They can be answered in a way that you can best understand them and take in the message that I want to share with you. And what's important for you to understand, this is not a narcissistic rant of mine. When you reach my age, there's no time for narcissism. There's no time for gloating on what I've accomplished in my life. There's simply the time on the clock is absolutely ticking, and it's ticking for every single one of us, especially ticking for me right now. So what's important to me is that I'm able in some fashion, some form, to be able to provide you with an insight that will enable you to see the universe that you're setting out to create. So I want to use that term, the universe you're setting out to create, in order for you to understand what in fact a company is. Whether that be a company of one or a company of 1,000, that company is a universe. And that universe comprises a gazillion dots, gazillion pieces of the puzzle that universe is and represents. And that effectively 99 million people on this planet know maybe something about one of the pieces, another of the pieces, another of the pieces, another of the dots, another of the dots. And effectively every single person you run into speaks about the dots they believe they understand. And what I've come to see over these past 40 years of my work in this universe of so many companies is that in fact, while everyone says they know something, they're an expert about this dot or that dot or that dot or that dot, the sad and sorry reality is that they do not understand the complexity of dots and how the universe then comes together as one thing. So hear me, whenever you hear me speak to you, I'm speaking to you about the universe of the company, whether it be a company of one or a company of 1,000, and how all the pieces come together. All the dots come together, the functionality of those dots, the resonance of those dots, the congruence of those dots, the meaning of those dots, the way in which those dots are intended and must work in order for the planet you're creating within those dots to absolutely produce exactly what it is intended to produce. So it's the universality of this conversation that I'm bringing to you here, wherever you happen to live. And I have 17 questions, and they come from Bristol in the United Kingdom. They come from Williamstown in Australia. They come from London in the United Kingdom, from Colliersville, Tennessee, from Brisbane, Australia, from Las Vegas, Nevada, from Raleigh, North Carolina, from Mosul, Iraq, from Lusaka, Zambia, from Stillwater, Oklahoma, from Danbury, Connecticut, from Port Harcourt, Nigeria, from Mansfield, Texas, from Danbury, Connecticut, we just said that, and from someplace in Texas. So understand the questions, all of you, come from around the world. Dots all, human dots all, in a universe of human dots, connected into, by God, one thing. And this one thing is the thing I'm trying to communicate to you. So hear me please. Nobody on this universe of dots has ever brought all the dots together to the degree that we have been divined to do. Over 40 years, with over 100,000 small companies, every kind of company under the sun, every single one of them facing every single problem every single one of them has faced, every single one of them attempting to solve that problem through the fractured view they have of what they do and who they think they are. I'm telling you, the pain and the suffering that exists on the planet is absolutely stunning in its complexity. But what's most stunning is the miracle when it all comes together as one. My aim here, the point of my being here with you every Thursday, is to help you understand you do not have to suffer. That in fact, not one of you has to struggle the way, in fact, I know every single one of you do. No matter what you say, no matter how you communicate it, there is no need to suffer. We've effectively put the dots together. It would be tragic to me if, in fact, you wait 2, 5, 10, 20 years to come to the realization that we were here right now and you had the opportunity to engage right here, right now, with the one who, over the past 40 years, has truly solved this small business problem to a degree no one on the planet has ever done. No one. Everyone promises they have. Everybody says they can. Everybody will sell you this and sell you that and sell you the other thing. But hear me, no one has. But we have. And so I need you to hear that solely so that our time that we spend here has the desired impact, both the desired impact from your perspective and the desired impact from my perspective. Every single question I'm going to respond to has been asked of me over the past 40 years 1,000,000 times. And guess what? I give everybody the same answer. Just begin it. Begin it anew. Begin it anew with this absolutely clear understanding that there are 8 essential steps to creating a world-class company. They start with a dream, a vision, a purpose, a mission, a job, a practice, a business, an enterprise. If you were to say to me, Michael, help me create the company I can imagine, I'd say, stop imagining the company you think you can imagine. Let's begin it anew with a blank piece of paper and beginner's mind. That's where great companies are born, with a blank piece of paper and beginner's mind. And that's why I speak to you about this great thing that I've made the commitment to do, which is the Dreaming Room online. For the very first time, in the Dreaming Room online, over 7 weeks, 90 minutes each week, I'm going to help you create your dream, your vision, your purpose, and your mission. And if you fail to understand this, you're going to fail to understand everything I've just said. And that is that without a dream, a vision, a purpose, and a mission, there is no entrepreneurial company ever. It's not something I'm making up. It's not my brand of market speak. It's not my sales pitch. I don't do a sales pitch. I simply tell you the truth. And the truth comes from those 100,000 plus small companies we've worked with over the past 40 years. Worked with to do what? Fix a broken business. All those broken companies, every single door you walk into is broken, most of them hopelessly. they will never, ever, ever get their act together. And they'll never get their act together because they don't even know that it must be put together. Let me give you just an example. I just picked this up. And this is from my book, E-Myth Mastery. I don't know how many of you have read E-Myth Mastery. It says the 7 essential disciplines for building a world-class company. And you can go get this on Amazon, and I'm reading from page 174. And I'm just picking it at random. I just opened it up at random. I didn't intend for this to be read, but hear me. It fits everything I'm about to say to you. The job of the financial leader in a business starts with the entrepreneur's vision. The entrepreneur's vision is the financial leader's marching orders. To the degree the enterprise leader is clear about her vision, the financial leader can build a financial model of that vision. She can determine the financial options that are available to achieve that vision, and she can create the financial systems that need to be in place in order for every aspect of that vision to be realized. The financial leader's job, the financial leader's mission, the financial leader's accountability are directly proportional to the size of the entrepreneur's vision. When Steve Wynn built in Las Vegas the most expensive hotel ever at the time, the Mirage, it called for immense financial leadership to pull off. Of course, what Steve Wynn could have done was what most people do. He could have downsized his vision to what was possible and probable, to what had been done before. We downsize our lives, our visions, our goals, our missions, our purpose, our passion all the time without recognizing it to what we perceive as acceptable, possible, guaranteed. We downsize our financial aims and our financial understanding according to what our past achievements are. Our past achievements are what we know we can do. Since it's reasonable to assume that you've yet to build a world-class company, the enterprise leader in you will have to be willing to get behind a vision that is beyond your proven ability to realize. Likewise, the financial leader in you will have to take on the financial accountabilities associated with that vision, and you may have no evidence of your ability to be successful at them. Therein lies the challenge, the thrill, and the opportunity for true aliveness. So understand what I'm describing is a process of revelation. You understand, every one of you have to accept the fact that what you must know to do what you desire to do, you don't know. And if you do not approach it from that standpoint, that I don't know, and that in fact, whatever I do, I must learn what I must learn about all of the pieces of this puzzle, all of the dots, and as they're coming together, and those dots are going to comprise the universe that I'm creating in my mind, in my heart. So it's beginning with a blank piece of paper and beginner's mind. The financial model, the functional model, the client acquisition model, the rational model, the idealistic model, the way people relate to each other in this company of one, moving on to a company of 1,000. So let me respond to the questions, and then I want to say to you, every single one of you, that every single one of you have an opportunity to begin your life anew, and to begin it in the dreaming room. And I'm saying to every single one of you, go to Gerber 81, Gerber81.com. And there you'll be able to enroll in my upcoming dreaming room, which is starting on August 15th. But I'm also saying to you, if you do not do it, you will probably not be able to, because it will fill up before you get a chance. So hear me, I'm speaking to you about the greatest desire every single one of you have to transform your life in the process of transforming the lives of other people through the medium of an entrepreneurial enterprise that you get to start in the only way any entrepreneurial enterprise is started, whether that be Apple, whether that be Microsoft, whether that be Google, whether that be McDonald's, whatever the company, whatever the product, whatever the service, whatever the medium. Every company is started the same way, by the dreamer, the thinker, the storyteller, the leader. The dreamer has a dream, the thinker has a vision, the storyteller has a purpose, and the leader has a mission. And those 4 steps in the business development process are absolutely critical to begin by creating a foundation, a platform for what you're about to create. It must be done that way. So where everybody has a different way of doing everything, yes, of course, there's a different way to do everything, and every single one of you can go out and pursue a different way, 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 and avoid making the choice. And the choice I'm providing you to make is the one choice that is assured to provide you with a platform for growth and the steps, every single step along the way, to prepare your company ultimately for sale. Because to the degree you do not create your company to scale, to grow, to replicate itself faithfully again and again and again and again, just like a McDonald's hamburger stand does, just like a Starbucks store does, just like an Apple computer does, if you don't, in fact, set out to do what you're setting out to do that way, you will fail, in fact, to awaken the true entrepreneur, who is absolutely essential for this to occur. So let me get to the questions, and then we'll wrap up by saying Gerber81.com. Gerber81.com. Hear me, this is an invitation. This is an invitation for you to get a direct pipeline into my heart and my mind that has had more experience than 99% of all the people on this planet. More experience in doing what? In creating great companies to grow. Over and over and over and over again, you can plug in to me. And in plugging into me, you're plugging in to what I call the luminaries. And the luminaries are individuals who have taken my work, my model of work, and applied it religiously. And they've applied it religiously to create a company that could scale religiously. You get to do that too. But you got to become a student. And if you're not ready to become a student, a true student, in this class, this enterprise class, in this class of people who must become world class for anything of true meaning to occur, if you're not willing to do that, then of course, we're just wasting our time. I've made the commitment to transform the state of small business worldwide. You're in the process with me. You'll be able to say that one day I was in the process with Michael Gerber when he in fact launched the greatest enterprise, the greatest business development enterprise ever on the planet. That's what we're here to do. I'm going to do that with you. But of course you've got to say, teach me. You got to say that. So Liam of Bristol, United Kingdom says, I've been asked to become a business coach a few times, and I've always been reluctant. I have run businesses, some very successful, but I don't think I have a formula I can teach people. How did you get into it? And is there a structure or process by which you follow, or you could teach me? Now, Liam, I've been telling you this, and if you've read any of my books, you know there is a process, there is a structure. We invented it. So hear me, we invented it before anybody even imagined there was one. We invented it starting out in 1977, Liam. So you don't have to go any further. You simply have to ask yourself, why do I want to do what I said to Michael I want to do? And come up with that answer in your heart. Why do you wish to become a business coach? And hear me, Liam, there's only one answer. And that is because people are struggling, and their lives aren't working. And somebody's got to fix it. And I, Liam, am called to do that. So all you need to do is say to me, Liam, teach me, Michael, and I will take you through the process. And the first step in the process, Liam, is right now, before you go away, enroll. Go to Gerber81.com and enroll in my dreaming room starting on August 15th. We'll spend 7 weeks together. 7 weeks together, Liam. Blow your mind. Number 2, Jackie, Williamstown, Australia. I've just finished Beyond the E-Myth. Every single one of you got to read Beyond the E-Myth. After hearing you speak to Nathan Chan on his Founder Magazine podcast, it was like you were speaking to me as I read through each page because I just heard your voice. I've just started a new co based on my father's old co. Well, there's a whole issue about that. So you have come into my life at precisely the right time. You better believe I have. The biggest challenge for me is educating my dad that it pays to plan and not just work. So if you have any advice on what, it would be very much appreciated. Old school versus new school working here. Well, first of all, your biggest challenge isn't convincing your dad of what he needs to do. Your biggest challenge is accepting, in fact, the responsibility for what you need to do, Jackie. Hear me. You may think you know what, in fact, you need to teach your dad, but you haven't a clue what you need to teach your dad. And because you've been inspired by reading my book, then be inspired sufficiently to start. So this is where you start. And you start by going and signing up at Gerber81.com for the Dreaming Room. Get in it, because there may be no room in it. And I know you absolutely are determined to create a company. Starting out with a company of one, no matter how many people are working there struggling with your father, to create a company of 1,000. Why? To get it ready for sale. Every single one of you hear me. Why? To get it ready for sale. Why get it ready for sale? Why is that important? Because you're mortal. Because just like your father, Jackie, you're going to die. That means there's an end game, which means before the end game, there must be an exit strategy. And you have to begin your company with that in mind, that you're going to create it so that it is stunningly a realization at that exit strategy. So that it's a seller's market, Jackie, not a buyer's market. So that somebody absolutely says to you, wow, Jackie, how did you build this spectacular thing? Emmy, Appleton, Wisconsin. I would love to hear more about finding and creating big partnerships. The biggest partnership you can have, Emmy, is the one you have with yourself. That's where it begins, that's where it ends. And you'll find that in the Dreaming Room. Go to Gerber81.com and join the biggest partnership in the world. The one of you on the outside with the one of you on the inside, and putting the pieces together into the universe called Emmy. I am. Edwina, London, please speak about attracting and building teams, attracting customers regularly, and getting finance right. Was that all you want in this conversation? Well, understand you do that by doing exactly what I'm telling you to do. I think every single one of you missed the point that there's only one way to begin this thing. And you begin this thing in the dreaming room. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. That's what you have to do. Edwina, very, very simply. Now, to prepare for that, I'm suggesting you can read the E-Myth Revisited. I'm suggesting you could read E-Myth Mastery. I'm suggesting you could read Awakening the Entrepreneur Within. I'm suggesting you can read Beyond the E-Myth, The Evolution of an Enterprise, from a company of 1 to a company of 1,000. I'm suggesting to you, Edwina, I'm suggesting to you, Emmy, I'm suggesting to every single one of you, hear me, become my student. I will never let you down, because I will never lie to you. I will never sell you something as the truth. I will only tell you something that is the truth, to enable you to discover your truth. And there's one way to do that, not 1,000, just one. And I own it. And I own it because I've spent 40 years pursuing it with everything I've got. And I write about that in my books. And in fact, if you were to go to that page I described to you, page 174 in E-Myth Mastery, the next page, 175, tells the story that every single one of you seemed to ask. Tell me, what is the biggest problem you've ever had? Tell me, what was the biggest difficult thing you've ever had to do? On 175, it starts out, little did I know as I walked into my office at what was then called the Michael Thomas Corporation, MTC, on December 10th, 1985, that neither my business nor my life would ever be the same again. Ladies and gentlemen, read that, starting on page 175. And if you don't believe that I know what I'm speaking to you about, please don't join me in this conversation, because you simply will not be prepared for the honesty that I'm bringing to you, the experience that I'm bringing to you, the mindset that I'm bringing to you. My job is to transform the state of small business worldwide, one individual at a time. So I'm simply saying, go to, please hear me, Gerber81.com. Sign up. Who else would you recommend I connect with as a resource for growing my company besides the Inc. magazine's #1 small business guru, Darla, in Colliersville, Tennessee? How in the world can you ask me a question like that? I want to read something to you. I read that question. I couldn't believe you'd ask me that question. I'm going to read this to you. Please bear with me. This is really good for every one of you. I'm countlessly asked by people who are either in business or people who want to go into business how to evaluate the merits of a service provider who's pitching them to hire him. The answer is simple. Is the service provider in business to satisfy their own needs or to satisfy yours? How can you tell the difference? Well, look at business coaching, for example. Business coaches, or any kind of coach for that matter, become a coach primarily because they think to themselves, wow, what a cool way to make a living. In other words, the decision had nothing to do with the client. It had to do with a lifestyle decision. It was all about the coach and only secondarily about the client. Watch out for that kind of service provider. Everything they do is about something they've learned from someone who invented it before they decided to make a living doing it. They might be good at it, but they'll rarely be great at it. What's more, their thinking will always be secondhand. What you're really looking for is disruptive thinking, thinking which breaks through the status quo. Understand, I'm not talking about the language the provider uses to make you think he or she has broken through the status quo, not what I call market speak, but factual disruption, the ability to alter your status quo to take you to a completely new level yourself. For example, most business coaching companies refer their clients to my book, The E-Myth Revisited. Read it, they say. Well, if they're asking you to read my book, why don't they simply send you to buy my service? After all, I'm the guy who wrote the book for small businesses. They didn't. So why are they even in the business of coaching then? Because they read the book. Get it? They said to themselves, what a cool way to make a living. It's so easy to tell. That's where the entire philosophy of personal branding came from. Today, most small businesses aren't businesses at all. They're sole proprietorships founded by a guy or a lady who couldn't get a job, who were inspired to become self-employed, and they bumped into somebody who was making $100,000 a year working out of their home office, and you said, wow, what a cool way to make a living. Went to coaching school, and using what they taught you there, set up your own coaching business. Who knew? So, dear heart, when you ask me that question, Darla, I wouldn't recommend anybody other than me. Why would I? If I'm number 1, why in the world would you go to number 17? Does that make any sense? So, Darla dear, in Colliersville, Tennessee, the beauty of this is you can come dream with me. Go to Gerber81.com. Sign up right now, Darla, if you're really serious. And you can do this in Colliersville. You're not going to have to come to a hotel. You're not going to have to spend all that extra money to fly there. You're not going to have to spend all that extra money to eat there and to be there and to drive there. You're not going to have to go on a vacation to begin this great, booming, growing enterprise that I trust you truly desire to create. None of you are going to have to do that. Robert in Brisbane, Australia. Michael, I built a national network of the E-Myth mythology, or is that ideology? It changed my life and that of many families. Yesterday became a published author. Well, congratulations, Robert. And what I learned over that 20 years, I hope to help more families grow their family business. My question, how do the business systems keep up with the constant changes in today's world? Can small businesses still compete in the current social media controlled marketplace? Love your work. Thank you. Robert, if you're asking that question, then you're not ready to do what you're setting out to do. Because you've got to understand, absolutely at the bottom of all of this, the brick and mortar level of all this, the foundational aspects of all this, nothing has changed, Robert. Well, everything seems to have changed. After all, there's the internet. After all, there are a gazillion apps. After all, the fundamental principles that are absolutely essential for walking a family through a process to begin, grow a company of 1 to a company of 1,000 are still fundamentally exactly the same as they were when I started out way back then in 1977. And I say that to you, because I have done that since then, and nothing is new. Do you understand? Nothing is new. While everything appears to be new, all of that is just confusing you. Hear me, I'm speaking to you on a thing called Facebook, a live chat. And I'm alive and you're alive and we're chatting. But you understand, I'm doing right now what I did on the very first day in 1977. I did it on the phone. I did it on the street. I did it. I had to tell a story. I had to tell a story that meant something to the person I was telling it to. And so must you. So there are absolutely clearly a single way in which every single one of you can succeed. I intend to give you that way. But you have to become an earnest student. No silly people in my classes. No silly people trying to do this and trying to do that and trying to do the other thing. Yes, but, yes, but, yes, but, yes, but. No yes buts in my classes. You understand why? Because I've spent a lifetime practicing, not just thinking about, practicing what I'm about to teach to you. In every kind of company on the planet, every single industry on the planet, nobody else can say that to you. And I'm going to teach you exactly what I've learned so that you can do it step by step by step by step. Your dream, your vision, your purpose, your mission, the job, the practice, the business, the enterprise, an evolution of an enterprise, a hierarchy of growth. I'm going to teach you how to do that. Hear me, Robert. I'm going to teach you how to do that so that when you do that, you absolutely excel at that. So, hi, Michael E. Gerber. Can your program, book ideas, work for real estate? Oh my goodness. Randy, Las Vegas. Randy, you don't know me. I swear to God. Have you not seen the eMyth Real Estate Brokerage? Have you not seen the eMyth Real Estate Investor? Have you not heard of the eMyth Real Estate Agent? Did you not understand that I just spoke for 30 minutes in front of 256 of the greatest CEOs in the real estate industry? And the first thing I said to them, why real estate is going out of business. The end of real estate. What do I mean by the end of real estate? Randy, it's the beginning of disruption for real. So Randy, can I, will I, do I? My God, Randy, without a doubt. Go to Gerber81.com. If you believe me. If you don't believe me, don't go there, because we're just wasting our time. Justin, Raleigh, North Carolina, if you had one piece of advice to someone just starting out, what would it be? Don't. That would be my one piece of advice, Justin. Don't start out. Unless you're willing to listen to me, don't start out. It'll be a disaster. 98% of all companies fail, Justin. It's just fail, 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 fail. Just like most people fail. Why? Because they're not students, Justin. They start out with opinions. They start out with opinions. They start out with opinions. And then they just go do shit. And then they wonder what happened when that shit didn't work. It's because they weren't a student, Justin. So you now get the opportunity to join me in my school. My school for new entrepreneurs. Why new? Because I've never met one who in fact knew what new entrepreneurship was all about. I'm going to bring you here from the very beginning to earnestly, honestly answer your question. Here's what you must do, Justin. Go to Gerber81.com and sign up right now. And then we'll spend 7 weeks together. And you're going to have something 99% of the people on the street trying to operate a small business never learned. The beginning of it. You'll have a foundation for it. And then when you're done with the dreaming room, I'm going to take you step by step by step by step to go to work on the job, on the practice, on the business, on the enterprise, to transform the state of small business worldwide. Amin in Mosul Iraq. I suggest you talk about the financial aspects of a project, investors, and funding. Go to eMyth Mastery. I'm astonished that I'm speaking to a gentleman from Mosul. I just read about Mosul. Understand, here I am in Carlsbad, California. How could I possibly understand Mosul and the catastrophe that's occurred in Mosul? I'm honored, that you're here to speak with me. The most important thing you can do is to join me in the dreaming room. Forget about all the other questions you have, because until you have a dream, a vision, a purpose, and a mission right there in Mosul, you'll never be able to do what's next. So just do it. Stanley, Lusaka, Zambia. This book is one of the best in my library. It gave me a new approach to business and understanding I never knew existed. Please talk about partnerships. The very first partnership you must have, Stanley, is the one with yourself. Hear me, I'm saying this to every single one of you. The most important partnership you can ever have is the one with yourself. And until you resolve that question, who am I? And what is that partnership? And what am I setting out to do? And why am I setting out to do that? And who am I in the process of doing that? Until I understand who the dreamer is, the thinker is, the storyteller is, the leader is, in you, Stanley, until you come into relationship with yourself, you will never understand what's needed to create a great growing company. So please join me. And the beautiful thing about this, think about that. You're in Zambia, she's in Raleigh, he's in Mosul, Danbury, Connecticut, on and on and on, London. Throughout the world, we all get to do this together in one place. Isn't that extraordinary? You don't have to come here to do this. You don't have to get on a plane. You don't have to get a visa. You don't have to whatever. You don't have to get a visitor's permit. You don't have to spend $1 million just to come here. You can be with me live in the dreaming room. And you can do that by simply going to Gerber81.com. Why 81? Because I am 81. God bless us all. Abigail, Stillwater, Oklahoma. What's your biggest break in your business and how did you get it? My biggest break in my business was meeting my first partner. His name was Thomas Travisano. Thomas was brought into the ad agency where I was doing this thing, going out to small businesses and learning the story that I needed to tell. But because I was learning the problems every single one of those small businesses had, and I decided I'm not going to do that in that ad agency anymore. I'm going to go out and start my own company. Well, the guy who owned the ad agency, who happened to be my brother-in-law, brought Thomas in to replace me. And as Thomas got to know me, as I started to teach Thomas what I was doing, Thomas said to me, well, where are you going? And I told him I'm going to start my own company. And he said, to do what? I said, to do this. And he said, I want to go with you. I don't want to stay here. I said, great, Thomas. Let's get to know each other. So Thomas and I spent weeks talking to each other, getting to know each other, getting to know ourselves in relationship to what we were setting out to do. And it was during that conversation that we created our dream, our vision, our purpose, and our mission. Our dream was to transform the state of small business worldwide. This is back in 1977. Our vision was to invent the McDonald's of small business consulting. Our purpose was that every single one of our clients who really got it, who followed our lead, would in fact apply our principles, could in fact be as successful as a McDonald's franchisee. And our mission was to invent the business development system that would make it possible for us to teach a relative novice how to deliver our system to every small business on the planet without a hiccup, every single time, exactly as we invented it. And that's what we started out to do. And I never could have done it had it not been for Thomas saying, "Where are you going, Michael?" And me finding out why he was interested. What were your biggest failures? My biggest failure has been the lesson I've never learned. My biggest failure has always been the lesson I've never learned. I've never had a failure. Oh, I failed at an objective. I failed at getting this result or that result, but it never stopped me. So you got to understand, you can read about all of my, in quotes, failures in every book. In fact, go get this book, E-Myth Mastery, and open it to page 175 and read the story, the financial story of the catastrophe that occurred in the Michael Thomas Corporation way back then, when we stretched far, far out, far farther than we had our experience enabled us to do. Challenging reality, challenging the impossible, but we did it and we won. But boy, did it hurt while we tried to pull our way free from the mistakes that we made unwittingly. Incredible story. Would you like to address how to optimize business growth opportunities and how to cope with the challenges of startups in a place like Africa? You are my mentor. Kali, hear me. Just follow the script. I'm going to teach you step by step by step by step exactly how to do what you've just asked for me to do. In your country in Africa, in every country in Africa, in every country worldwide. This is universal truth. Not because I think it is, but because we've done it. So the very first thing you get to say is, isn't it brilliant that I, here in Port Harcourt, Nigeria, get to meet with Michael Gerber live, face-to-face, over 7 weeks to learn the essential baseline truths that are absolutely critical to founding a company anywhere. What kind of a company? A company of one, just you, starting with a job, Achille. Every single one of you, starting with you, starting with a job, because every company on the planet has started as a company of one with, in fact, the job. And what's the job? It's what you've determined you're in the business to deliver to your most important customer. So join me at Gerber81.com and enroll. Alkali. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Scott Mansfield in Texas. Is the Dreaming Room still a live experience? Scott, go to Gerber81.com, live. You're going to be with me 90 minutes a week for 7 consecutive weeks, and I'll beat your brains out, Scott. So get started. Reginald, what were your biggest failures? Already answered that, Reginald. Flint, in your opinion, what's the best way to flip businesses, and what outstanding resources and tools would you recommend? Flint, you're not in the business to flip businesses. Businesses don't get flipped unless you're freaking lucky. If what you're really asking me, how do I build a world-class company that ultimately I'm going to sell, I've got the process exactly for doing it. So go to Beyond the E-Myth, the evolution of an enterprise, from a company of one to a company of 1,000, and it will tell you exactly what the steps to take are. But I've just told you that. A dream, a vision, a purpose, a mission, a job, a practice, a business, an enterprise, and it starts in the dreaming room. So join me in the dreaming room, Flint, if that's your name, Gerber81.com. Stephanie, I would love to hear more about mistakes first-time business owners make. No, you don't want to hear about them. Just why don't you experience them? Get started, Stephanie. Get started in the dreaming room. Your first thing you're going to see is the mistake you've made without truly having a dream as I describe it, a vision as I describe it, a purpose as I describe it, and a mission as I describe it. You've already made the mistake. Correct it. Listen to me. Be my student, Stephanie. I'm a great teacher. I will teach you every single thing you have to know as you're doing it. This is real world stuff. This is not make-believe. This is not academia. This is not an entrepreneur degree from a dumb school that isn't, in fact, in the business of making it happen on the street. We make it happen on the street. I love you all. It's incredible. I hope you've all gotten what you need to get. Hear me. Yes, you can make it on your own. No matter who you are, no matter what you know or don't know, no matter where you live, no matter how little money or little experience you've got, it's here, it's now, it's what I call radical self-employment. It's the ultimate in personal economic growth. Join us in the dreaming room. Go to Gerber81.com. Now, Trish has brought in questions. Michael Wheat, the E-Myth is the greatest ever. Well, thank you, Michael. Andrea Green, hello from New York City. Hello, Andrea. Louis Romani, hello from Beirut. Love your books. Thank you so much. Ojakan, I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name. I'm sure I've been reading in the E-Myth Revisited. I must say it's the best business book I have to date. Thank you. Join me, every one of you, in the dreaming room. Andrea Green, I'm unable to make it to this dreaming room workshop due to financial setbacks. Last week you suggested I read the E-Myth. I have the E-Myth Revisited. Can I read that instead? You absolutely can, Andrea. In fact, get yourself together and get that little bit of money you need so you can come dream with me. Michael Golyer, read all your books several times. Every time I've understood them deeper and deeper. This is very important. You read the book once, you get something. You read the book twice, you get something else. You read the book 3 times, you get something else. I've had guys call me and tell me, Michael, I read your book 3 times a year. And every single time I read it, I walk away with something I never thought I knew until I suddenly discovered something that I needed to know. When I first read them, I thought that was a lot of artsy, non-practical stuff. As I've read them over and over, I have to come to realize that the artsy, stuff is the important stuff. It's the real work. There is no Michael, other than in what everybody else is telling you. Hear me. I've written so many books you haven't even read yet. I've written so many books you haven't even read yet. And I suggest to every single one of you, sign up for the Dreaming Room. We're going to go through a process together. You'll get beyond what you even believe, Michael, my books are all about, by applying it step by step by step in a way you haven't even imagined yet. Lucky, hello from South Africa. Lucky, I'm speaking to a bunch of folks from South Africa. I hope we'll be there soon. Lars Meyer in Canada, your program is amazing, Michael. Well, thank you so much, all of you. I truly mean that. Thank you, all of you. My wife came to me the other day with a quote from the E-Myth Manager. And I told you, I forgot that I'd even written that book. I've written 29 books now. I don't remember everything that I've said. But you understand, it's all inspired. It's all inspired because it's all a conversation with reality. It's all a conversation with you and with reality. It's a conversation about people who, in fact, have done every single thing that everybody tells them to do and has never yet succeeded in the way that I know they could. And when I read that, what my wife brought to me, it was like I was being introduced to somebody I'd never met before. Of course, it was me. But as I read what I had written, I was so inspired. But you understand, the inspiration wasn't narcissistic. It wasn't egocentric. It wasn't about me at all. It was about the intuitive divine nature that lives within me and every single individual I've ever met, if you can open yourself to receive it. You have to open yourself to receive it, folks. Open yourself to receive me. And in this process, in which we do that miraculous thing, something beyond belief will occur. I can promise you that. And I can promise you that because I've seen it happen 1,000,000 times. On July 25th, Liz Delia, my wife, and I will be meeting with a group of 32 extraordinary individuals. They're coming specially just to join us in Texas to learn about our new enterprise. These are 32 people who are the most successful entrepreneurs on the planet. They're setting aside a day just to come spend it with me to hear about our new enterprise. Making it on your own in America or wherever you happen to live. Making it on your own in America or wherever you happen to live. The program. We are so thrilled to be launching this. And that's why I implore every single one of you to sign up for the Dreaming Room online right now. Because that will be the introduction to the program that I'm then going to invite every single one of you to join me in. And ladies and gentlemen, that program will be affordable to anybody, even those making $1 a day. Why? Because I have a dream to transform the state of small business worldwide, and that means you. And I have a vision to invent the McDonald's of small business consulting. And we have done that, but never, never, ever as grandly as we're about to. And to have a purpose. And that's every single one of you can create a great growing company, starting out as a company of one and taking it step by step by step, no matter what you know or don't know, no matter what you can afford or can't afford, no matter what you decided you're going to do before you met me, no matter what you in fact believe you're capable of doing and are not. What I'm committing to is breaking the doors open for every single one of you. It's an astonishing thing. And these folks, these 32, have come from around the world. These are folks who have created $250 million a year companies. These are folks who have created $100 million a year companies. These are folks like 1-800-GOT-JUNK. These are folks like Infusionsoft. These are folks who are in the real estate business, in the growth business, in the business of junk, in the business of painting homes, in the business of HVAC contracting, in the business of plumbing, in every imaginable kind of business, and every single one of them applied my stuff to grow their companies. So much so that they're coming here to spend a day with me to say, Michael, please tell us what you're about to do. We wish to do it with you. I wish to do this with you. So thank you for joining me today. I trust it's been at least a bit inspirational. I trust you understand that every single thing that I've said is the gall darn truth. And not only is it the truth, it's the truth for every single human being on the planet, all 7 billion of you. It's something you can do. And it's something, if you truly, truly intend to make it on your own wherever you are, you absolutely must. It's the one way. It's the only way. It's the essential way. It's the thrilling way. It's the way to work. Thank you. This is Michael Gerber speaking to you from Carlsbad, California. I've enjoyed it. I'll see you next week here at 12:30. But by that time, I trust that a couple of thousand of you have already gone to sign up for the Dreaming Room and found out, holy moly, the sucker's full. Do you hear me? Holy moly, the sucker is full. He gave me one chance and I blew it. Just do it. See you next week. Bye-bye.